Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Force Chatter. This is episode number 10. We're recording this just a couple days before May the 5th. So this is a kind of a light news week for us. But
this many, Lou.
May the 4th.
May the 4th. Yeah, I was thinking Revenge of the Sith 5th.
Lou,
This
is the May.
Yeah. That's right. I've seen that one too. Yeah, this is the May. Yeah. So those two voices you hear are the usual cast of characters we have here with us. We have Eric and Tim. How are you guys doing? Tim, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And everything's
fine here.
I have been doing okay. I'm trying to post the link over here in Discord for people. I'm doing okay. I've got a new webcam, and it hasn't broken yet. And Windows is cooperating more than it usually is, which is to say, it's still being a butthead, but like less of one. Yeah, it's going great.
Yeah.
I got to do some Star Wars role-playing game with my son earlier today. Got to play D&D with you guys yesterday,
Awesome.
so that was good. Yeah.
We had a good time with that, yep. Yeah, I'm looking forward to us getting our Star Wars campaign going.
too.
We'll talk more about that in a little bit.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. But now we don't really have any news. We're hoping for some big news to be dropped in a couple days here. This is Sunday night, and Tuesday is May the 4th. And we're hoping for some big drops. And we know we're going to get the Bad Batch first. Is it 3 episodes?
Sure, why not?
We're getting 75 minutes, I think, of episodes on May the 4th. And we get another episode on May the
Friday.
The 6th on Friday?
Whatever day it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be good. 6th, 7th, I think it is maybe. But I'm looking forward to the Bad Batch a lot. It feels weird not having anything new on Disney Plus on Fridays. Now that Falcon the Winter Soldier stopped, and it's like, okay, we got to get something new.
If they just had like a logo of either Marvel or Star Wars, just like paint drying on a wall at this point on Fridays, I'd tune in just out of habit, because otherwise I feel like I'm missing out on my weekly MCU or Star Wars fix. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be coming up this week, so you'll be back in your normal
Bad
track,
Batch.
So.
Yay. Can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be okay.
I'm big on Bad Batch.
Hey, it's Star Wars. I'll be happy.
True. Now, did you guys, some May the 4th specials have come out already on purchasing online. Have you guys partaken in anything yet of some exclusive May the 4th?
I've got one I'm doing tomorrow because it doesn't go live until tomorrow. I have an Oculus Quest 2, and they are doing a bundle of all of the different Star Wars games, which is Vader Immortal Parts 1, 2, and 3, Tales from Galaxy's Edge, and the Zen Studios Star Wars Pinball just got released in VR. And so they're doing a bundle of those 5. It's so
VR,
nice too, because you got like your man cave. I don't mean to sound sexist, but I mean, it's a term we all know what I'm talking about when I say that, down in the basement. And there's like, as you unlock different tables and do different achievements and stuff, you get like figurines to put in your little glass curio case. And you've got like, I don't know, like a Jabba the Hutt statue and like all kinds of stuff you're decorating basically your mom's basement with, or however you want to call it. You can actually play the game from like within the pinball thing, within the pinball game. Like you can see the ball bouncing around and stuff. It looks really good. The reviews have been incredible. And if you already own some of this bundle, it prorates it based on what you've already purchased. So I've got Vader Immortal 1, 2, and 3, but I don't have Pinball because it just came out last week, and I don't have Tales from Galaxy's Edge because the reviews for that were so I figured I'd wait for it to go on sale. So perfect time to pick that up. Also, Force Unleashed I think it's on Steam for $20, which is a steal.
Oh, nice.
It's a steal. It's definitely worth way more than $20. Various other games. Battlefront 2, I think it's like $13. So this is the like Black Friday deal time to buy Star Wars video games.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Nice. I actually already did spend some Star Wars dollars here for Lego. Their May the 4th stuff started yesterday on May the 1st. And I picked up the Probe Droid and the Scout Trooper helmet. So waiting for those to come. Ship to my house. I'm looking forward to that. I really like those helmets. I've got the first 3 from the first round. Hope they start doing more and more of these because they're really, really cool.
Boba Fett helmet.
And they're fun builds too.
I've got my. You can see off in the corner there. My Mando helmet. It's not Lego.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Also means it's not as heavy on my head, so can't imagine a Lego one would be comfortable.
It's also personally made.
Personally made
you, so.
Mando helmet from somebody who's in the chat room right now and has a YouTube channel, Mediocre Modeler. Go check it out.
Nice.
So Tim, did you get anything?
Tim, what about you? You eyeing anything up?
I did not. No.
It's okay. It's not May the 4th yet. You've still got a couple of days.
Sadly. I've been swamped with work stuff, and the only thing that I bought was a new zero-turn lawnmower.
Is it Star Wars related? Tim?
Does it have an Imperial symbol on the front?
Is it?
It's not. I mean, it could.
It really could.
I may get some decals or something. And
does it have blasters?
It will.
In what distance does it do the Kessel Run?
My backyard.
Close enough. We'll call it.
The length of my backyard.
Is that a parsec or two, or
Sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
I've seen your property, Tim. It's probably.
You know what? That's okay, because May the 4th is not about what you buy. May the 4th is, and it's not even necessarily about any one particular aspect of Star Wars specifically. It's just about the fact that it's one day where all of the Star Wars fans all get to hop into the community online and celebrate and share whatever it is they're excited about with Star Wars, whether it's new Lego stuff, whether it's video games, whether, well, you got to get your lawnmower decaled up first and, paint job and stuff like that. But we'll come back to that. You've got a couple of days. You're okay. Whether it's watching Bad Batch, whatever it is you're interested in, you get to share that with other people online. And plus, it's like you get to, like, I'm at the point now where, now that this has been going on for a few years, people at work who aren't into Star Wars kind of have heard of May the 4th, and like they kind of get it. It's a little meme that shows up in the morning and then they're done for the day. But it's normalizing Star Wars a little bit in the culture. Not a bad thing.
Yep.
Just saying.
Definitely not. It's also fun that, this time of year, it's not just the one, we get like 3 or 4 holidays for Star Wars, right? Because we have,
yesterday was 501st.
Oh yeah.
501st day, right? And then back in April we had 421. But still, you can still celebrate, Eric.
You can still, yeah. It's not exclusive to the membership. It's
good.
Yeah.
And then, April 21st is TK 421 day. So,
And now, thanks to The Mandalorian, we have the entire month of May is Star Wars month. This is the May.
That's true. That's true.
I like that.
And Tim, I forgot, we should have celebrated in February. We should have celebrated, 224.
Yeah. And we should have. We should have. Yeah. That's something that we have to actually mark on the calendar. I don't know that anyone else actually celebrates that, but yeah.
We should start.
Is that your 501st designation
the
thing?
Fighting 224th.
You got to explain the inside joke for the rest of us.
The 224th. It's the 224th Imperial Armor Division,
which is your 501st
are part of. So,
yep. All right, which is good. I just need some context there. By the way,
sure.
Well, no, it's actually not even 501st. That's Clone Wars canon.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Did you guys know
where it originates?
That yesterday was the 30th anniversary of the release of Heir to the Empire, and basically the creation of Legends.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to November 38th, so we can celebrate 1138 Day.
Yeah, I think I got plans that day.
Yeah, I'm busy too, Tim. So.
Yeah, to celebrate.
All right, before we get into talking about the Star Wars role-playing game, because that's going to be our topic for this episode. And if you think maybe you're not interested in it, give us a chance. Because even if we don't change your mind, you're at least going to learn some about it, have some context for it. But you guys got to see the Timothy's On stream. So in short,
Yes.
Is there anything you can tell us in summary? Is it basically just a fluff piece? Was there anything in particular? I mean, Tim Zahn always has great stories. So I know that it was definitely an interesting experience. But for those of us like telling us about it after the fact, is there anything in particular that we would want to hear about?
I mean, from my perspective, a good part of it was the thing is that Tim Zahn does a ton of cons and panels and presentations and all that kind of stuff. So, I think by and large, and it's certainly not knocking him because I think a lot of people want to know the same stuff from him. So I'd say probably 75% of it is kind of the same. Everyone wants to know about Thrawn, and obviously this was to talk about Thrawn ascendancy. And, so he told stories about Thrawn and how he developed Thrawn and talked about, the name configuration of the Chiss and that kind of stuff. Certainly, stuff that's interesting. And obviously it's a good reminder of these things with the new book out. As we're about to dive into it, or some people already have. Then that said, I would say, the other 25% was some stuff that I haven't heard or haven't heard as much of. I mean, there were some really good questions about like kind of his means and methods of writing, how he would put a story together, that kind of stuff. Lou, anything?
I was just happy to hear him say that, he would like to go back to this sub-universe within the Star Wars universe that he can write more novels in that may not involve Thrawn. I mean, he didn't say he was going to do that, but he said that he'd like to. So, I mean, he's got other ideas for stuff in there, and, he's developed, the Ascendancy really as its own, universe unto itself. So
that would be nice.
That'd be cool to have him. I mean, in these novels here, the one, The Greater Good Now, and what's the third book, The Lesser Evil, I think, Tim? In November coming out?
Yes, I believe so.
He's actually fleshing out the Ascendancy more. It's not just Thrawn, it's the Ascendancy, it's the way the universe is put together, the ruling families and everything that goes along with that, and even just names and ranks of the characters and how they relate to, stuff we have already within, the Imperial universe. So it's just really cool to get that information out and have him, expand the knowledge of what this other, next door neighbor to the Imperial Empire.
It would be really cool to see that expand.
Well, and what I appreciate about it most is, while I very much love the character of Thrawn, I do love that Tim Zahn has kind of created his own kind of pocket within the Star Wars universe. And of course, it has interactions with the main Star Wars universe, but he's also been allowed to basically build his own thing. And, and it wasn't just like a one-shot book of, oh yeah, sure, we'll let you, make up a planet or whatever and add a couple of characters in, like a lot of Star Wars authors do. And not knocking that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on out there. There's a lot of authors that want to write in this. But he has pretty much, staked his claim. He's planted his flag there, and he gets to do whatever the hell he wants to do within that. And it's and it's all brilliant. It's just, and it's fantastic. And it has its own continuity. He's able to go back into history within the Chiss Empire and tell whatever he wants to, because it doesn't have any bearing whatsoever on the quote known Star Wars history, which is it's just fantastic. I really appreciate that we have that expansion.
I'm wondering if they're going to ever open this up to other authors.
What, the Ascendancy?
I mean, it's
they will.
Well, yeah, or anything outside. I mean, it's Tim Zahn's intellectual property, but it's still Lucasfilm, licensed stuff, because it's their. He's made a world within their world.
It still
so
belongs
I don't know how that plays
to Lucasfilm. Out. If they want to bring anybody in and say, "Hey, write this in the Ascendancy," now number one, they have the right to, and number two, Tim Zahn can't say no. Like he doesn't have the right, legally speaking,
right,
to do any of that. Now they have such a good relationship. Lucasfilm wouldn't do that to Tim Zahn. I don't think a lot of authors in Star Wars would step on his toes if they felt like it didn't have his blessing. But legally speaking, they can do whatever they want. Yeah.
And I mean, they could always even go the Tom Clancy route of things with, if they wanted to put out like a higher volume of books, get another 2 or 3 authors to write stuff where basically Tim Zahn does the treatment of it. He does kind of overall big picture story edits, make sure that tone is consistent, that kind of stuff. Because Tom Clancy, I mean, he hadn't written a full novel in a long time. They were all ghost written by other people, or sometimes they would get like a co-author credit or whatever. But yeah, it was another author doing the vast majority of the work, and hey, maybe that'll happen,
True. Okay, well, I mean, good stuff about that. I'm not sure if they're going to stream that live on Del Rey's site or anything, or not live, but stream it after the fact on Del Rey's site at all. But you can go check that out if it's there.
If you ever get to a convention and you have an opportunity to go to a panel where Tim Zahn is even participating, let alone like the main event, check it out. He's clearly a good storyteller, but he's good on a panel too. So
yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, he really is. And obviously he's a big fan favorite. I mean, folks love to hear from him. He packs rooms. So yeah, like if you go to a con and he has very often he has his own room, get there early.
You're right.
Because he absolutely packs it. I think last time the only way that I got into the room was because I was with Tom, and Tom was like a VIP kind of thing.
I remember a time I sat behind him in a panel once and got to lean in and talk to him a little bit and said, "Hey, when we're done here, can I interview you real quick?" He's like, "Oh yeah, let's go find an empty room." So that was kind of cool. That's never going to happen again.
That's very cool.
That's never going to happen. That was back when Star Wars Celebration was still much smaller than it is now. But
sure.
Tim Zahn, by the way, did help create the Darkstrider campaign, which was arguably West End Games' most popular module for their role-playing game. It was a series of 3 different separate adventure novels. And much like the Ascendancy, it was him creating this other pocket universe of Star Wars with just all of this rich world building and lore, and it was really incredible. I never got to play it. I own them, so I've read through the content. But I was kind of hoping that Lou would have asked him to join our role playing game, but
I never had a chance to. Yeah, I had sorry. Well, speaking of role playing games, why don't you talk about what you're going to put us through?
Spoilers. I'm not going to talk to you about what we're going to put you through, but
darn it.
That's
Lou,
true.
he already puts us through enough.
But now
that's true.
I can customize it. I can tailor it specifically to, actually, it's going to be Lou and Carrie. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Star Wars role-playing game. And with the pandemic, this seems like the best time to jump on the bandwagon of something that's actually been out for several years and has kind of actually died off during the pandemic. Fantasy Flight Games, the company that makes this and a lot of other great stuff with multiple franchises, they shut down their RPG division and sold it. And it looks like it's coming back. It's not coming back to FFG, but some of the people from FFG apparently are working under this new company located out of, I think, Spain, but with a US office as well. And they're talking about bringing back new content for the Star Wars role-playing game, which is awesome. So
cool.
If you're not aware, role-playing games, I'm talking the tabletop stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, which has had a massive resurgence over the last few years. And now with the pandemic, you can't get together and do role-playing games anymore. Except now you've got Zoom and Skype and Discord and Microsoft Teams and et cetera, et cetera. So people are getting together online to do these things, but it's a little bit harder because you can't see, I could roll the dice and, oh yeah, I rolled a natural 20 and I rolled a 3 or something like that. How do you keep people from cheating? How do you keep people focused? How do you keep it immersive? And so over the pandemic, there have been these online systems for playing tabletop role-playing games that have just exploded, where now you two, Lou and Tim, along with another community member of ours, Frank, and Lila, one of our other podcast hosts, she was the GM for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that we started up a couple of weeks ago. And you guys got to experience a system called Foundry, where through a web interface, we log into a server that the DM runs, and you get to see the map. You have little token graphics for your character, and you move around the map, and it only reveals what you're able to see from your angle. So like if you're coming up in a hallway, you can't see around the corner until you move your token up around the corner. And everybody has a different line of sight on things. You've got dynamic lighting, you've got dynamic sound. As you walk up to a fireplace, you hear the crackling of the fireplace, etc. All of your rolls are done online.
I have to stop you there for 1 second there, because the atmospheric sounds are really awesome.
Yeah.
Except next time we're in a cave, we shouldn't have running water, because wow.
Yeah, there was a stream running through this cave, and the stream was very loud because the cave echoes. We had to take a lot of bathroom breaks during that.
Yeah, I was drinking
session.
coffee, and I was like, oh my God.
But these systems, a lot of them, you can adjust the different volume levels of different things. In fact, there's an audio system called Sirenscape, or Sirenscape, depending on how you pronounce it. And it's almost like, so you can play different music in the background, and you've got a soundboard and stuff, so you can trigger different sound effects. Like say you walk into a pub, I'm still talking D&D here. You walk into a pub and it's a crowded pub, so you got a lot of different people, and there's a bard off in the corners singing some bard song, which, I hate those. And the fireplace, and and let's say you go find a quiet corner somewhere in the pub to sit and talk with your party. Well, all of these different sliders and different buttons for all these different sound effects, you can just trigger it and say quiet corner, and it will automatically adjust all of these different things to adapt the sound effects for what that pre-programmed setting is for lowering certain sounds and things like that. Or you can hit another one that says, closing time. And then there are fewer people in the pub, and the bard's not singing anymore, and the fire's starting to go out, etc. And the level of intricacy to all of this is just incredible when it comes to being really immersive. And that can all get really complicated too. So we're going to take it back to just very simple. And that's one of the great things about the Star Wars RPG system, is that it's not a lot of number crunching. In fact, the dice don't even have numbers on them. They use a narrative dice system. Okay. And Lou, have you actually played any sessions before, or is this going to be your first session?
No. Yeah, first session.
Okay. All right. So it's very easy to get started in the Star Wars RPG. There are 3 different core system books. One's called Edge of the Empire, which deals with smugglers and bounty hunters and explorers and colonists and things like that. The other one is the military one called Age of Rebellion, which is the rebellion, the rebels, and the Empire. And then the other one is Force and Destiny, which is your light and dark side Force users. Okay, so depending on which type of campaign you want to run, you can just get one source book and you're fine. You don't have to get all 3. And then there are a bunch of supplemental books that cover the different career paths and specializations if you really want to delve into your characters. But if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know enough about Star Wars that you can run a campaign easily. And there are a lot of different free adventure modules you can pick up. The game system, like I said, it's not numeric. It's all about, do you succeed or do you fail? And do you really succeed, or do you just barely squeak by? Or you might succeed, but not by very much, or there might be another side effect of something. So the example I like to use is if you're outside in an alley and you want to jump up and get the fire escape, you're going to roll based on your athletics skill, and there's going to be a certain difficulty. So you throw in some negative dice too to roll against the difficulty. But let's say it's raining out, right? So now you've got a complication in there. So you throw in another type of dice. It's called a setback die that will add a little bit of possible negative side effects. So you roll the dice, and it shows that you've got success versus failure. So let's say you had more failure than you did success. So you didn't grab onto the railing on the fire escape. But there's also advantage and disadvantage icons too. And it could be that you failed, but you rolled a lot of advantages. So, you grabbed the fire escape and your hand slipped and you fell crashing down to the ground. You made a bunch of ruckus, but then someone, down the wall a little bit here's a ruckus, opens the door and says, "Hey, why don't you just come on in and use the stairs?" So it allows the game master and the players too an opportunity to kind of steer the narrative around the story. And it gives the players a chance to really jump in and tell the story themselves too, which is really cool. They have pretty much every different race you could possibly think of. I've got a fan-made book published online, like over 300 races. I didn't know there were that many species in Star Wars. Like they've got literally everything. They've got like a little sentient bunny rabbit sort of thing that I guess appeared in a novel somewhere.
Jax?
No, not Jax, though they have his race too. No, we're talking something that's actually like the size of a small dog that looks like some sort of a rabbit and gets really pissed off when people think of it as a pet. They've been trained as Jedi before, apparently.
They have like a Howard the Duck style character?
Nearly.
It's the Star Wars equivalent of Rocket.
Close. Yeah, close to it. They have E.T., because that species appeared in Phantom Menace.
Yep.
They have a planet they're from and a species name and a culture and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's a fan-made thing, but that's another point too. There's so much fan-created stuff out there. So this is a great time to jump in and do this. You can still get all the books. They're not out of print. They're still being printed. You can get them on Amazon. You just need like a pack or two of the narrative dice, and you can jump into this. So Lou, excuse me, you and Carrie are doing a campaign with me, and it's just you two players. And I've been running a campaign with my son, who's just one player. And unlike D&D in the Star Wars stuff, you can be a really competent player, a competent character, without having to have a bunch of other classes to compensate for things you can't do. So you can get by with just the two of you. Now, what career and specialization did you pick? Do you remember?
Let's see, I'm a smuggler character, and my specialization was driver.
Okay, I think you were an explorer and driver.
Oh, explorer driver, that's right, yep.
So your specialization is mainly in planetary-based vehicles, speeders, things like that, transports, high-speed chases, cloud cars, things like that. You've also got some mechanic skill. You've got some space piloting skill. You've got some gunnery skill. For vehicle-mounted weapons, things like that.
That's right, yeah.
Carrie is playing a smuggler thief, so she's got some slicing skills, some pickpocketing skills, things like that. Neither of you two are what would be considered combat-heavy classes. And that's okay, because this game system has a lot of adventures. In fact, there's an adventure called the Jewel of Yavin, and don't go look it up because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a big, officially issued adventure module, like hardcover bound and everything. Almost designed specifically for you two, like for drivers and thieves. Cool. Takes place on Cloud City. There's this big kind of Ocean's 11 sort of thing going on. And when you guys created your characters, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is one of the first modules I'm going to have to run, clearly, after I get you guys through a couple of beginner stuff. But there's just so much you can do in this system that has nothing to do with combat. There are political characters. There are traders and merchants. There's a whole crafting system in there if you wanted to get into like the economy of things. There's engineers. There are doctors and scientists, and of course Jedi and Sith and apprentices and all that. So if anybody's interested in learning more about it, let me know, and I'll get you the resources you need. But it's I think this is a really good time to jump in and do something like this, because the pandemic has kind of made it so that these online systems have gone through a lot more development very recently and have jumped ahead in what they can do quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's safe.
Well, and that's the thing. It's been 30 years since I did any kind of role-playing game stuff. And using something like the tools online that we're using now, it feels just like we would be sitting around a table having, an evening of role-playing game, except we're all on the computer and not in the same room and doing it. But and the visualization is actually better than it would be if you had doing it around a table.
Yeah.
It's part video game, it's part role-playing game. It kind of feels video gamey, but not in a bad way. It still feels like we're because we are making up the stories as we go along,
right?
And the personality of each one of the players comes across in the character, and that's just fun to kind of go with. And we first started this again. I'm like, Tim kind of got me into improv a couple years ago, and this is improv with dice. Really, when you come right down to it,
pretty much,
it is. It's just so much fun to play and be the character and see what you would do.
Yeah. Here's why I argue that this is something you should consider picking up, because right now you can't go to conventions. It's not a thing. Like even you guys watching Timothy Zahn the other night, you had to do it remotely, and it's great that they're doing that, but you can't go to conventions. The content, the movies, the TV shows, you can watch those, but it's not an interactive experience. The video games, other than Star Wars: The Old Republic, those are all solo too, or mostly solo. Okay.
Yeah, Han's in a lot of them.
He's in a few. So this is something where you've got the socialization, you've got the hanging out with a group of people. Like you said, Lou, you've got kind of the improv side of things. You've got an actual game, so it's gamifying the interaction, where you're tracking character progression and loot and all this kind of stuff. And then it's also storytelling. You are creating in the Star Wars universe. You're getting to participate in that and tell your own stories collaboratively in a way that's fun and that can continue past one session, or you can just do one session if that's all you want to do. So I would argue that this is one of the most immersive aspects of Star Wars fandom that most of you are missing out on. So you should try it out.
I
go ahead.
I definitely want to get into it. It's the time of year. I mean, we've been playing D&D, and as we get into summer, that gets a little bit more challenging because weekends mean yard work and that kind of stuff, and all sorts of other house projects.
Sure.
And so we're only playing for a set number of weeks, so that kind of helps. But hopefully we can do a Star Wars campaign, later in the fall or into the winter or something like that.
Absolutely.
That'll be great.
And
I'm the more you guys talk about it, and of course the more I get back into D&D, which has just been
fun,
fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been really great.
Well,
and it makes me hungry for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, there's some inside jokes there. Well, if you're in our Discord server, you'll pick up on them. Yeah,
my character is always hungry and always likes to eat, and will eat anything.
Literally, he has an inhuman hunger because he's not human.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little disturbing. And there are races like that in Star Wars too. But so that's one of the cool things that, like I was saying earlier, you can do it with just one player if you really wanted to. Like I've been doing it with my son, and it's just a one-on-one thing. You can do it with a party of two people, and that's fun. That's actually viable. You can do solo missions. You can do single shot, one session missions. You can do larger campaigns, and there's all kinds of material out there for you. You don't have to create it yourself as a GM, and you don't have to use these big web-based systems either. You can just do it just on a Discord call. There are plugins for Discord that'll roll the dice for you, and that's literally all you need. So I would recommend checking it out. You pick up one source book, and that's it. That's all you need, and a player. So highly immersive, highly engaging. That's my pitch. I'm not a shill for Fantasy Flight Games. They did give me some of the content for free. That was many, many years ago. I still have some of it, so I don't know if I still have to give that as a disclaimer or not, because, you know, I promoted that back on the Forcecast back in the day, but I'm still promoting it because it's a great system. And that's the other thing too. The system itself is great. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's Star Wars. Just the system. It's a superior storytelling system. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to throw that out there. And we are actually going to record and post our beginner session, our introductory session, Lou and Carrie and I. So if you guys want to watch it in action, I don't know what kind of train wreck it's going to be yet.
Oh, it's going to be a train wreck, probably.
I'm sure it will be. It'll be fun to watch. So we're going to post it for you guys, so you guys get to see an example of what the system's like. Whether you think it's fun or not, you know, you'll get to decide for yourself. So, but that's all I got. You know, slow news week. I thought this would be a good time to kind of throw out a pitch for that. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, and I think if we do another session in the fall, I think Tim needs to play a Gungan.
Oh my gosh!
I have all the stats for Gungans. I let my son have a couple of.
Misa's so excited.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not either, but I figured he would have to play a Gungan.
I'm not. Yeah. Oh, they've got all the stats for all the different races and stuff. My son has 2 companion characters I allowed him to have. One is a Talz, the big white furry thing from the cantina.
Yep.
And Ortolan. So Max Rebo.
Yeah.
There you go.
Who eats about as much as Tim's D&D character. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's part of their culture. That's why Cy Snoodles kicked Max Rebo out of Max Rebo's band, is because when he set up the deal with Jabba, this I'm not making this up. When he set up the deal with Jabba, he was really excited because they were going to get paid like never before, right? And the deal was that he was getting the band paid in food. And because that's how their culture works. And so the whole band got mad at him and kicked him out.
Tim's D&D character would love that.
Yeah,
paid in food.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I got, Lou. Mm-hmm. I just, you know, Thursday night with you and Carrie and I, she's playing a Chadra fan.
Yep. That's right.
So, and you know what's funny? I sat down and I thought of this idea. Okay, I want, for my son's campaign, I want him to encounter this group of people, a group of characters on this ship. So he started creating it, and then it kind of grew in scope, and then it grew in scope. I ended up creating an entire adventure module by accident. Like plots and conspiracies and this whole thing. You guys are going to play it too. Just out of nowhere. And I can't wait to get to it.
Cool. No, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, you know, D&D is a lot of fun, but being in Star Wars, you know, in Galaxy just seems so much more fun sometimes. You know, it's even playing the Old Republic, you know, feels like you're in universe, and it feels fun to be there. And it just it's you know, it's Star Wars. It's, you know, how often you really get to be in Star Wars. That's why I really can't wait to go to the parks. You know, once I feel safe going in large crowds and doing the hotel in Orlando.
Yeah, the
doing that
space cruise.
3-day cruise thing. Yep. That's going to be just fantastic. But you know, we're getting close. Almost there, I suppose, right?
That and about $25,000, we're all set.
Yeah, that's true. Gotta save our pennies.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know, when we come back next week, we'll have Bad Batch. We'll have whatever else does or doesn't get announced on May the 4th, and.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get some announcements.
Yeah. And if not, we'll have a review of the Bad Batch.
Exactly.
So, still good stuff.
Okay. Well, why don't you take us out, Eric?
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Like I said, if you have any questions about the Star Wars RPG or want to get started in it, let me know, and I can help you. I can help steer you in the right direction. But for more episodes of Force Chatter, Random Chatter, I will steer you toward randomchatter.com. That's where you can find all of our podcasts, including those that are not here on YouTube. But if you want to watch us on YouTube, go to randomchatter.com/YouTube, hit the subscribe and like button down below, hit the notification button so you get notified when we have new episodes that go live. And also go to randomchatter.com/store. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, all kinds of stuff there that you can show off your Force Chatter fandom while also helping support the network. And we are a nonprofit, so I want to clarify that stuff's not going to our pockets. That's going back to supporting the network. So you can help support us in a way that makes you feel good. And that's going to do it. We're going to be back next Sunday night, like I said, with news about Bad Batch and some other things. And we'll see you then. Take care.